Deadly Instincts, where the real monster isn't the murderous alien, but the horny professor. Welcome to Creepin' It Real. Thanks for joining me. We're going to be talking about 1997's Deadly Instinct, directed by Paul Matthews. This had several different titles, also Breeders, but there were some working titles like Rampage or potentially Grimm 2. They were going to play it off as a sequel to Paul's first movie that saw some success. But in the end, well, they landed on it being a remake of the 1986 movie called Breeders. So let's check out this trailer and let's talk about it.
I told you what did this to me, and it's not human.
An alien predator has discovered the ultimate feeding ground.
Already, you can hear and see in the way that they're wording this that they're trying to pull in and call people back to, obviously, Predator and Alien, which, you know, this is somewhat a ripoff of those things, but it does, you know, things differently. But, you know, advertisement is all about the spin, and that's what they're doing here.
Earth.
You know, it's not every day a meteor hits your lawn.
That's blood, I think.
I hope it's not Chris's blood.
What am I supposed to do?
Let's just leave.
Strange blue lights and alien experiments.
You saw it too, didn't you?
I don't think we're gonna find anyone alive down here.
Riley?
I think we found something.
Please. I think he's using these things to control his victims.
He uses me, he controls me.
It's unstoppable. Insatiable. And giving birth to a new breed of terror. The human race has met its match.
Here's the thing. This monster is all practical effects, and I dig practical effects. I mean, they are just what I live for when it comes to horror movies. But they also do use CG. And the practical effects are pretty decent. And the CG is just so bad. Like explosions and fires in the distance. It all is just so incredibly bad. But the practical effects for this alien, I really enjoy. Even though I feel, you know, when you have those two creatures that are just so iconic and beautifully designed, be it the alien, the xenomorphs, and the predator, it's difficult. And I also think that Pumpkinhead was a very well-designed creature. And I feel that this alien has a heavy leaning towards the Pumpkinhead. But at some point, everything starts to feel derivative when you have three creatures, two definitely, a third in my, honorable mention, that are so beautifully designed. We have a meteor that crash lands, luckily, right in the middle of an all-girls college. Now, what crawls from the rubble of this crash meteor can only be described as a young woman that purchased the space slut costume from Spirit Halloween. Then, what crawls out is this alien as well. And from the beginning, you don't really understand what the relationship is between these two. Like, they both clearly came on the same meteor, but she seems to be running from it, but also it always seems to be very close by. She seems to be protecting people from it. It's very confusing. You don't understand what's going on here. What's the dynamic between this woman, space slut, and alien? It doesn't become clear until much later on in the film what is actually going on. You got this professor, relatively young, and I think he's a new professor. It makes it appear like his first encounter with his class, this is the first time they're seeing him. And he's kind of hiding in the shadows. And then after all the girls have sit, he turns on the lights and all the girls are like oohing and eyeing over him. I mean, they're all just like, they're all ready to just start throwing their underwear and bras at this man. But he picks out one blonde in particular, and he's checking her out. Now, this is before the lights turn on. He's in the shadows, massively oogling her. Later on, he encounters the same student, and I'm going to keep saying that student because that's what she is, at minimum 10 years younger than him. The age thing isn't so much the problem here. It's the power dynamic that is the real issue in my mind. At night, this professor sees Space Slut some point, and he's like calling out to her, and she's freaking out and running away. So the next day, he's like, well, I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to look through the photo books and see if I can find out who she is. He's slipping through, and then blonde chick shows up. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I saw a girl last night, and I want to know if she's a student here. And then he's all like, and when I say see, I didn't mean see, I mean I saw. You know, it's supposed to be like this funny whole, I know that seeing a student would be stepping over bounds. So I want to clarify to you that I wasn't crossing any lines, but at the same time, I want you to know that I'm available. You know what I'm saying? He's like, so I thought I'd look through here and see if I could find her, but I'm not finding her. But this whole conversation is like, he gets so close to her, like uncomfortably close. And granted, I understand that these are signals of interest. But for me, I was like, MFer, just back up. You are just up in my face. And then he reaches out and he grabs this like crystal that's hanging around her neck. No asking. No, I'm just going to reach out and grab this crystal that's hanging between your breast and pull it up and be like, oh, that's beautiful. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's really effing creepy, bro. Keep your hands to yourself. But you know, she's just like, oh, this attractive man. He wanted to touch me. This man doesn't know his boundaries. Would you believe it? They end up sleeping together? I mean, that's a shocker. He gets called out by the principal of school and she's like, hey man, watch yourself. I know what you're doing. And he's like, but I really have feelings for her. Side note that I forgot to mention, the crystal that she was wearing was actually part of the meteor that crashed. The janitor, who has a very entrepreneur spirit and always trying to do the hustle on the side, gathered up meteor pieces and broke them up and was putting them on chains and selling them to the girls at the college. So almost every girl at this college has a meteor piece around her neck. Things just play out perfectly for this alien. Because later on, the alien uses the meteorite pieces that are around these girls' necks to mind control them. Where we find out from Space Slut, he actually puts his eggs into them and they incubate inside of these girls. Then the alien uses those jewels to call all the girls to his little, lair, okay, where he like puts Brody stuff on them and seals them up in cocoons and puts his egg in them to incubate or whatever. So the blonde chick, I'm guessing, is out of range of his mind control powers, and so she doesn't get called or act weird. Then this cop finally says to her, fine, I don't think you have anything to do with this, you can leave. But he keeps the professor because professor is a little weird. Now granted, he has been crossing lines with his student for sure, but he had nothing to do with these people missing. But the cop is being all power trippy. Then finally, the cop releases him. And the professor's like, where's blonde girl? And he's like, oh, I sent her away already. And he's like, okay. Well, blonde girl is back at the college. And she's sleeping in professor's bed. What appears to be is like cocoon type stuff starts oozing from the jewels she has around her neck. And she starts becoming encased, okay? Because now she's within the range of this creature's control. But she doesn't go to his little, nest or whatever. So then professor comes home. He goes upstairs, sees her like cocooned, and then he does what I think most of us would do, is he touches it and sniffs it. Then she jumps up. She's slightly transformed. Like she definitely has heavier eye makeup on, and she has long fingernails. And she starts attacking him. Space Slut shows up, and now she's wrestling with Blondie. And Space Slut yells, take the jewel off her neck. So he rips it off, and boom, immediately she's back to normal. Fingernails are gone, makeup goes back to normal. She's not juicy anymore. Then Space Slut runs away again. I don't understand what this girl's problem is. She shows up, saves people, then runs away. So Professor and Blondie are all like, we got to do something about this. So they decide to go underground because the alien has decided to make its lair, in the sewer systems under this college. So they get guns and flashlights and stuff, and they're like, we're going to go down there. They start running into a bunch of college girls that are under the control of the alien, and they're attacking them. And Professor and Blondie are like heavily armed, and they're just blowing these girls away. And Blondie's like torn. She's like, oh no, I don't like this. These were my friends. And the professor's like, they were dead already. We have clear evidence that all you have to do is take the necklace off and they'll be fine. I'm guessing since you're not boinking these girls, you don't care about taking the necklace off them. It's just easier to shoot them in the face. So that totally made no sense to me because we had clear evidence. Space Slut told you, you took it off, and you saw that she transformed back to normal immediately. But somehow, all these other girls, they were dead already. So this just blew them away. Made no sense. No attempt to save these girls whatsoever. They save Slut Girl. They get out. Then all these big, massive explosions occur. Every girl and the principal are left dead underground in the sewers. And there's just a massive explosion. Anybody who was left down there, other than Professor, Blondie, Space Slut, and that cop that hates the Professor, everybody else is dead. Those three are safe. And Space Slut is like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, they abducted me. I've been up there, and now I have no life. What am I supposed to do? And Professor's like, we'll take care of you. And I'm like, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Getting your little harem going on there, buddy. I understand what you're doing. So she's feeling slightly hopeful, but then they all look up in the sky and they see several more meteors coming to the Earth. Now they're all like, oh, look, shooting stars, but she knows they are more aliens coming to Earth to try to continue their species here. So I'm hoping Deadly Instincts 2 at some point. I know this came out in 97, but I'm hoping. Come on, Paul Matthews, let's do this. Deadly Instincts 2, I gotta see this movie. So it does have a certain amount of entertainment, but I could have lived my life without seeing it. So I'm landing at a 4 out of 10. If you've seen it, I'd love to know your opinion, especially if you've seen the original and the remake. I want to know your thoughts on which is better. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any movies that you would think I should check out, please leave those in the comments. I will definitely check them out. I am Judah. This has been Creepin' It Real, and I'll talk to you later.